I proper tore that to shreds. We are going to rank every single eyeshadow palette that I have tried for the year of 2021. There are 25 of them. I know. Yes, this was freaking hard for me, okay? It was a tough decision ranking these. Honestly, it was. Even from like 25 up, it was just tough. I have reviews of, or like looks of every single one of these eyeshadow palettes bar one, and I'll tell you which one. So if you want to see like more in-depth thoughts or reviews or extra looks or anything like that, go ahead and check out like my channel, because they'll all be on there. If I can think of them, I'll link them down below, but if not, they're just all through my channel. But yeah, they all exist on the channel. So let's just go ahead and get stuck into it. Now, before we do, go ahead and do the YouTubey things. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get started. A couple of little things. Now, starting at 25, which is like least fave to number 1. However, I will say that I actually really like every single one of these eyeshadow palettes. There are probably 2 that I'm like, oh, maybe you could skip, and I'll tell you which one those are. But other than that, like, I truly recommend any of these. I think they're all really, really good quality, apart from the 2 that I'll tell you about. But even then, they're still good quality. I'm probably just like, oh, you could probably find something a little bit better. But I really, 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 really like all of these palettes, and I hate having to rank them like this because I genuinely love them all. Truly. Secondly, I have included any Pat McGrath palettes that got released this year. So Huetopian Dream, the Venus and Fleurs quad, and the Odyssey palette, but I haven't included any other Mothership palettes that I purchased this year and tried for the first time, like Decadence, for example, because honestly, this ranking is freaking hard enough without adding the Mothership palettes into it, okay? Like, it just is. So I thought it was fair, and I thought you guys would want to see like Huetopian and Odyssey compared to like other releases and stuff, but I just can't do the whole shebang. Also, in saying that, not all of these eyeshadow palettes got released specifically this year. Most of them did, but a couple of them got released like super late in 2020, but I didn't pick them up until like January, February. So I'm including them in here, okay? Because it's my video and I can make the rules. Thirdly, I like all of these palettes, so I don't think anyone should have a problem with like me not liking something that they love and getting offended, but if that was the case, like, it's just makeup chill, we can all have different opinions. And I think with that we can get started, because it's probably going to be a long one. This look is either up or it's coming, and you are going to see this look in a lot of videos. I'm sorry, I just have filmed my best of 2021 and my worst of 2021, and I was wearing this look as well. So I'm sorry it's such a repeat, but you know your girl has to bulk film, and this is all I had time for today, so I'm sorry. Okay, let's start at number 25. Now, number 25 is actually one that I don't really recommend going out of your way to pick up. The reason why you would pick this up is because you just love the color scheme. It's super, super affordable, and you're like, YOLO, why not? But in terms of the actual formula itself, I don't think it's the best. Now, number 25 that I've tried this year is the Mint to Be, which you can barely see because my lights are so bright. The Mint to Be Colourpop palette. So it is this palette right here. I actually wanted this palette for a really, really, really long time. I love the color scheme of this. You guys know I love a green. I love a green, and a mint green specifically I love. The mattes specifically in this eyeshadow palette I don't think are good. I really don't. They're just kind of chalky and powdery, and they kind of fade away to nothing, at least in my opinion. But the actual metallics in here are quite pretty. Like, they're kind of like that Colourpop formula. So number 25 is that, because the matte quality is the poorest quality I have in my collection. The next one is a new palette that I picked up in the Black Friday sales. I picked it up for 12 USD, which is like 18 Australian, so I'm not mad about it. Is the quality exceptional? No. Is the quality good? Yes. So it is the Jouer Essential Matte and Shimmer palette. So it looks like this. It's a very neutral palette. Honestly, I picked it up because I really want to pick up the Makeup by Mario Master of Mattes, or matte, yeah, Master of Mattes palette, you know, the all matte palette from Makeup by Mario. I'm gonna have to pick it up. I can't get it out of my mind, you guys. I really can't. I don't know if I'll regret it, but I can't get it out of my mind. Anyway, one of you guys suggested this palette, and when I saw it for 12 USD on the Beautylish site for Black Friday, I was like, absolutely, like, that is really reasonable for me to pick this up, and I like it. It's actually a nice palette. The formula isn't the best formula in the entire world that you will try, and the shimmers in here really, they're really not metallic at all. Like, they're a sad excuse for a metallic. They really are. But if you are someone that like wants something that's really, really soft and everyday wearable, you'll actually really like this palette because it's very, very friendly for any occasion, really, that is if you wear these tones, and it still works. And if you can find it for a good price, I mean, if you can find it for the price that I got it for, I'll just pick it up. I wouldn't even question it, to be honest. It's nice, you know. We are on to number 23. Now, number 23, you guys, I know all of you are gonna be like, seriously, like, I don't think so. But number 23 for moi is the Pat McGrath Labs Venus in Fleurs quad. Listen, you guys, I don't love this quad. I really, really don't. Is it beautiful to look at? Yeah, it is. I don't like the formula of this matte at all. I find it to be like kind of patchy and just a little bit harder to work with. I don't think it's her best work for mattes. And like this shade, it's gorgeous, but it's so flaky. I really struggle to use it. And then I do love this like bronze shade right here. I'm not going to swatch every palette, you guys, but you know, but it's just, I don't know, the palette's not anything like ridiculously special to kind of like warrant it. And I don't know, I just don't really reach for it. I don't love it. The formula's not super like friendly to work with, in my opinion. I just don't think it was her best, and I don't really super love Quartz. I need to just not buy Quartz, I think, because I don't know, I think it's more just that it's super flaky and super glittery and I don't love it. Number 22 is the Huda Beauty Python palette. So this was part of the Wild Obsessions collection, and I really, really, really like this palette. I think it's beautiful. I really love this green. I love this. I love all of the shades, and she has these really beautiful like glittery kind of almost, these remind me of if any of you have ever tried Pat McGrath, not Pat McGrath, Linda Hallberg and her Enchanted Secrets palette, or Enchanted Secrets palette, that formula, that's what these middle shades in these palettes remind me of. But like these metallics and everything in here are beautiful. Like look at this gold even, like see that? Stunning. I really, really like this palette, and that's what I mean. So everything from this point onward, I honestly, like, I hate the fact that I've ranked them because they all bring something so special and unique to my collection, and I love them all, and I'm not giving any of them up. So even though they're now ranked from like upward, it's just because of like, in terms of like use, and I don't wear these colors every day, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get a lot of use out of this on the everyday. But if you were someone that was like, I just want a kind of palette with a couple of pops and these were the shades that you were looking for, you won't regret it. It's really, really good quality. I really like it. My friend Emily, who has a YouTube channel, and I know Tara Brooke as well, who has a YouTube channel. If you haven't checked out both of those channels, make sure you do. I'll link them down below because they're amazing. I know they both love this palette, but it just doesn't seem to work the same for me as it does for them. So this is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. So this is number 21 out of palettes that I tried this year. Now, this isn't a new palette. Obviously, this is quite old, but I got this for my birthday, and so I only tried it this year specifically. So I love the color scheme of this particular palette. I actually couldn't get this color scheme out of my head, clearly because I asked for it for my birthday this year. Like, it's just so beautiful. And like, I do think that the colors in here especially, oh, I did a look recently with this frazzled color, which is like this color right here, and it's beautiful. Actually, I do have a recent look on my channel using this palette, and I recommend checking it out because it is gorgeous. But sometimes this palette works for me and sometimes it doesn't. Specifically the mattes. I think the metallics in here are really pretty, but specifically the mattes I find to be real fussy, and I just think they're all quite light toned. I'd like to see a little bit more dimension in here, and I would imagine, and I could be wrong because I'm not a makeup artist and I'm not super skilled in this area, but I would imagine if you're like a deep or a deep dark skin tone, this palette doesn't work that well for you, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I don't know. 21, I think that's a fair ranking. Number 20, I love this palette a lot. I don't use it a whole lot. It didn't get a lot of views when I put this video up, which is fine. Like, yeah, it's not all about views, but it kind of also is at the same time. You don't want to create videos that people don't want to watch. But in saying that, I love using this palette, and this palette is probably one of, like, if we were talking specifically color schemes for the year, this would probably be number 2, nearly number 1 for my favorite color scheme. Okay, so this is the Beauty Bay Wilderness palette. This palette, like, it's affordable. Like, I think I paid 20 Australian dollars for this palette. Look at the color scheme. That is like amazing. That is so stunning and so unique. These, oh, like these colors, is that not perfect? It's so beautiful. I have a video again on this palette on my channel, but the greens in here, you guys, oof, look at them. If you are a green lover like I am, go and pick this freaking palette up, okay? Like if you love greens, go and get this, because the greens in here are unlike anything I have ever tried. They are gorgeous. I don't always like the Beauty Bay formula. I have had hit or miss palettes from them, but I will say this palette does not get the attention and love it deserves because it's stunning. So we've done 25 to 20. Let's go ahead and move on to the teens now. Now in the number 19 spot, we have the Kaleidos Cross Angie Nyquist Club Nebula palette. Now this palette is incredible as well. The reason why it's ranked down so low is it is limited edition, so I can't use it as much on my channel, which I get why it is, but you know, but packaging is like stunning. It's like really, really luxe. The design on the front is gorgeous and the color scheme is amazing. But I will say that this is also ranked number 19 because it is so colorful. I really wouldn't reach for this like on the everyday. This would be more like creative looks, or if I want to kind of little pops of color, this is what I would pick to try. But I will admit that these colors, like these ones here, these mattes, they are really, really, in my personal opinion anyway, I have no idea if this is correct, but I have always found that those shadows are hard to formulate and hard to get right. Like they, especially like this limey acidy green. I'm a sucker for this green. If I see it in a palette, I will pick it up, I promise you. But I have found like, I've never found a green like that until this palette and the Wilderness palette to actually live up to its expectation, and this does. Like the formula of these colored mattes are so good, and the shimmers in here are amazing. They're like these really beautiful neon kind of toppery shades. Like look at them. They're like fairy shades. Like I don't know how to describe them, but they are insane. They are such good quality, and I wish that this palette could be permanent because it deserves to be permanent. It's so good, but you can't buy it anymore. I'm sorry. In number 18, we have the Viseart Paris Love Letter Etendu or Etendu palette. Now, this is a gorgeous little palette. First of all, I love the packaging and I love how compact and sleek it is. Secondly, I love the Viseart formula and I love the Viseart brand. They are a very, very sweet brand to deal with. I really have enjoyed any experience I've had with them so far. This is the Paris Love Letter palette, and I have, again, a review, maybe 1 or 2 looks on this on my channel. The only reason why this is ranking so low, because I really love the Viseart formula. I think it's a beautiful formula, but I do find a couple of these shades to be quite flaky and just kind of not what you want them to be. Like the purple and the greens are just not the best metallic formula that you can possibly get. Are they horrific? No. No. You would definitely pick this up and still like it. And I liken this palette to someone who just wants a really soft, like natural glam kind of everyday workwear palette with some kind of 2 pops of color in there to mix it up if they need to, but something that you can just throw in your bag anywhere you go, and you can create a really soft, like, you know, supermodel look on the run, if you will. Beautiful formula, love it, like wouldn't give it up, but it is ranking at number 18 just because I think that their metallic formula in that particular palette could use just a little bit of tweaking. In number 17, we have the M Cosmetics Venetian Rose palette. Honestly, this palette is amazing. It's so cute, so pretty. I love the mattes in here. I love the shimmers and the metallics. It's very, very pretty. I also have a video, I think it's like trying my M Cosmetics brand, I guess, video, but you can see like these metallics are really, really gorgeous. It's a great formula. The matte formula is really nice as well to use in here. Again, another one of those really cute palettes that you can like throw in your bag if you're traveling or you're going to work or whatever from the gym, and it's not going to take up a lot of room. Really, really great quality, and you can create some really beautiful soft looks. Ranking in number 16 of the palettes that I have tried this year is the Glaminatrix U Beauty palette. I love this palette. I actually got this palette in PR. It's one of the first PR products I've ever received. I was very, very appreciative. I was going to pick this palette up anyway. It's gorgeous. Look at the color scheme here. So pretty. Now I will say, when you look at this palette, you will probably think, oh, that's not very cohesive, and it kind of isn't. And I will say I don't reach for it as much because of that, but the quality of this formula is insane, especially this shade right here and this shade right here. Ooh, they're like these most spectacular duochromes. They're amazing, and the mattes in here are high quality. Now this is a super indie brand. It's actually from Australia. It's actually not far. I think Gladstone these girls are from, actually, which is not far from where I say not far from where I live. It's probably still like 10-15 hours away, but you know, in Australian terms, that's not that far. But there's an Australian brand, and this palette is named after like all of the Australian kind of sayings that we have. And I think it's amazing. I think the color scheme's gorgeous. I love this Bloody Oath color. Oh, gorgeous, that moss green. But yeah, this is a gorgeous palette. I actually need to reach for it way more than I do because it's worth the reach. So in spot number 15 is the only Dior eyeshadow palette that I have tried. This is the color Early Bird 659. This was part of their, I think it was called Birds of a Feather or Birds of Prey collection. And as soon as I saw this color, I was immediately like, I'm 100% buying this palette because I am a sucker for like a mustard tone like this. And I don't know, I heard a lot of people not love this palette. I really liked it. I have a different experience from this palette than most people seem to have, to be completely honest with you. I truly like it. I actually wear this quite a lot in my like everyday kind of life. I think the difference is that a lot of people have been struggling to work with this like mustard color right here. I find the best way to use that color is to get a flat shader brush and pack it into the crease, and then get your blending brush and blend it out, and it works perfectly for me. It sounds like a lot of work to make that work, but it's not. It's like one little extra step, but it blends out so easily. It doesn't take that much longer. And then these shades, like the metallics in here, they're so soft and pretty and like just like a wash of like sparkly metallic. They're perfect for like an everyday makeup wear. If you're not someone that wants like a full-on va-voom kind of metallic, then this formula is for you. I honestly reach for this a lot. I really like it. Getting into under 15 now. So we are up to number 14, and number 14 is the Wild Obsessions from Huda Beauty Jaguar palette. Adore this. Adore this beautiful little cool toned palette. Again, this like purple shade in the middle, it really reminds me of the Linda Hallberg formula, but all of these shadows are amazing. Like, oh, I have a 3 looks 1 palette using this particular eyeshadow palette. I have a review of this. It's such a good little palette, and it has all of the tones that you could possibly want in here, especially if you're someone that's just looking for like a really small cool tone palette that you can include into your collection. Brilliant. In number 13, I'm not sure if you guys would have picked this palette to go in number 13, but this is where I'm putting it. It is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. Now this is actually the palette that I am wearing today. I wanted to use this palette today because I had a look in mind, and then I haven't used it in a while, so I thought I would pick it up and play with it again. Now don't get me wrong, stunning palette. Again, I can't stress this enough. All of these palettes are good. Love them all. Don't regret buying a single one, truly, except maybe the Pat McGrath cord. I would probably give that back, and like the ColourPop one, but I really don't regret buying any of these, okay? But this is just number 13 because it's very purple. It's really not something that I would reach for every single day. And as we're getting into the higher palettes, these are kinds of palettes that I really would reach for on the everyday. Quality is really, really beautiful. Definitely one of Huda's best palettes. I truly find that every single big palette she releases like this, her quality gets better and better. I will say this palette always leans quite purple. Even when you think these neutral tones will come out neutral, they really don't. They're still very, very purple leaning. So if you don't want like a purple palette, don't pick this up. But if you are into these like soft little girly purple colors, oh, it is very pretty and the quality is really good. Number 12 is a palette that I 100% wasn't going to pick up, got absolute FOMO for, felt absolutely head over heels in love with it, and now I'm so happy to have this in my collection. It is the ABH Cross Norvina Volume 5 palette. I kept saying it was Volume 4. It's definitely Volume 5. First of all, look at the outer packaging. So pretty. I know this is a big palette. People don't love big palettes anymore. They're into the quads at the moment. I am not. I don't love a quad at all. I really don't, truly. I like a big palette. I like options. It's just who I am. So this palette works perfectly for me. Again, it's very, very purple. So it's ranking so low because well, so low, but it's ranking at number 12 because it's so purple. I wouldn't reach for it on the every single day. This one has a more neutral tones than the Rose Quartz palette though. So every look I've kind of created with Rose Quartz does tend to lean purple. Whereas with this one, you do have some shades in here that you can make this palette not lean so purple if you really wanted to. I have a 3 looks 1 palette with this as well. So if you want to see some like other ideas where they don't lean so purple, check that out because I definitely did that. But there's just shades in here. The quality is what is so good about this. The metallics are buttery, highly pigmented, go on the eyes stunningly, and the mattes, it's hard to formulate a good purple matte. That's just like universally known. These are incredible, incredible. They blend themselves. I don't know how to tell you that the quality, it's just such a high quality palette. Number 11 is a newer palette to my collection, but I adore it. I'd been eyeing it for a year. So this is another one of those palettes that came out last year. And I was like, at the time last year, I was like, I can't justify picking it up right now. And then I picked it up in a sale recently for 40% off, I think. I love it. I don't regret not picking it up sooner, but I'm really glad that I have it. So this is the Nabla Side by Side palette, and I love this palette. It is such a perfect everyday neutral eyeshadow palette. The quality of this palette is really good as well. The mattes are stunning. The metallics are gorgeous. I will say you probably would look at this thinking the metallics are super like bold and pigmented, but they're not. A lot of them are more like those toppery kind of shades. Like this one here and this one, like they are more like that proper metallic, but a few of them are more like that softer like topper kind of shade, which I personally really like in a metallic formula. But it's also the mattes in here. It's just such a good everyday palette. I really like this, especially if you can get it on a discount. I have seen it kind of come up on a discount, especially on Beauty Bay. If you're from Australia, it comes up on discount quite a lot from Beauty Bay, and I recommend it, like especially if you can save some coin. But even if I paid for this full price, I would still be really happy with it. It's stunning. Okay, so number 11 might surprise you guys for what it is, and you might be thinking, this should be 1 or 2 for you. But if I was ranking this honestly and truthfully, this is where I would put it. So number 11 is actually Pat McGrath Labs Huetopian Dream. I know it's Pat, you would think it would be number 1, especially being a mothership with special shades. Now I know I didn't include the other motherships palettes that I brought into my collection this year, like Decadence, Bronze Seduction, all that kind of stuff. They would all be number 1, you guys. They really would be, and it would just be like getting into another Pat McGrath ranking, which I know you guys have been asking for since I brought in a few more palettes, and I will do it. I'll probably just wait till like January, February, just because I just did one, but I will re-rank my Pat palettes, okay? I promise you. But I wanted to include Huetopian and Odyssey because they are like new releases, true new releases to this year, and I thought you might want to see where they compare to like other new releases this year as well. So number 11, Huetopian. If I'm being honest with you guys, I wouldn't really wear this. I just don't really gravitate towards this color scheme that much at all, if I'm being honest with you. Am I going to give it back? No. Would I still have bought it? Yes. So I don't regret buying it. It's just that I don't regret buying it because I'm a super big Pat McGrath lover, and I will still like find ways to use this. Like I will wear the shades. I'm making it sound like it's just going to sit here and not get used. It's not the case. And like these purples, they really are something out of this world. They really are. It's just, I don't like this multi-chrome. I don't like this gold here. This is pretty. It's just a little bit more warm tone than what I'm feeling right now. And I think the overall vibe of the palette is a lot more warm tone than what I am vibing with right now. There are shades in here like this one, and these two are just chef's kiss perfection in my mind, but I just won't reach for this a whole lot. Even compared to my other mothership palettes, I never even think to reach for this one. So I do really like it. I wouldn't give it up. And if you are vibing with this color scheme, like if these are your colors, you will 100% love it. But they're not 100% my colors. You know what I mean? Oh, sorry, this was number 10. I think I said it was number 11. So it's top 10, there you go. Is it number 10? This was number 10, soz. Not 11, number 10. In number 9, we have the Lunar Beauty Eternal Eclipse palette. I know, it's like beating out a Pat palette. And it really is. I love this palette so much, you guys. I adore it. I use it a lot more in like my everyday life than I do like on YouTube and stuff like that, but I love it. I picked this palette up because of these 2 blue shades, 100% hands down. That's exactly why I picked this palette up, but I love it. I love every shade in here. It's a perfect mix of like, actually most of this is cool tone. There's some slightly warmer tones in here, but mainly it's cool tone. It's a neutral palette, but I like to call this like the nighttime basic bitch palette. So you know, where you might have like more of a neutral palette that's my daytime friendly, like the Viseart Paris Love Letter palette, for example, is very daytime friendly. Whereas like this is like, if you want really basic neutral colors, but you want to be able to go full glam, this is the palette for you. And that's what I love about it. I also love that every single one of these shades in here are just ever so slightly unique. Like maybe some of these neutrals are not, but like even the metallics, like they're just slightly unique, that I don't actually own anything like this in my collection. And the quality of this eyeshadow palette is exceptional. Like it is such good quality. The metallics are amazing. The mattes are amazing. I can't fault this palette. It is so, so, so good. In number 8, we have the beautiful Mel Thompson Cross Sydney Grace Tiny Marbles palette. Now, as you know, Mel Thompson sadly passed away this year, which was really, really, really sad, especially for those of us that watched her and loved her. And I really miss watching Mel's videos quite a lot. But I am so happy that I have a little piece of Mel in my home, and I will forever. Like I will never ever get rid of this palette. But on top of that, this is just a really, really, really good quality, great color scheme palette. Fire Butts is like the best shade ever. It first of all has the best name ever of any palette ever. I love the name Fire Butts, but look at these metallics, you guys. Look at them. They are like creams. The metallic formula from Sydney Grace is so good. The mattes in here are so good. And this is another one of those palettes where every single shade is just, even the neutrals in here truly, they're just slightly different, that you don't own anything like this in your collection. Now number 7 is a newer palette to my collection, but I don't need to have it a long time to know where it sits. I can't hold it up properly because it is broken, but it's the Natasha Denona Biba palette. I'll try and get it so this mirror doesn't blind you, but a couple of these shades are broken and I haven't repressed them yet. But this is the Biba palette from Natasha Denona. It is very much a basic bitch neutral palette, and I love it. It's Natasha Denona quality. The mattes basically put themselves on your eyes and blend out on their own, and off you go. It's also really, really wearable. A couple of cool tones in here, beautiful neutral shades, slightly different neutral shades to what I actually own. I know it's like 50 shades of brown, right? But there's more than one shade of brown, so there you go. Also, I love her formulas in here. She's got some cream to powders. I love cream to powder from her. It's like, I know a lot of people don't like her cream to powder formula. I love it. It's all for me. And I also really like the metallics because they're not super, super sparkly, blinding metallics. They're really, really nice for an everyday kind of makeup look. Perfect for what this palette is for. Number 6 is actually my Natasha Denona Glam palette. I did think that this was probably going to be maybe 1 or 2. But when I really sat down, I was like, no, I think this works for number 6. I do love this. You know, I love cool tones, especially this year. And this is, again, that Natasha Denona quality that you know and love. The eyeshadows blend themselves. The metallics are exceptional. Like, just all around, and a really, 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 really stunning palette. I think it's probably just ranking a little bit lower because it is what it says. It's a glam palette, so I don't use it on like the everyday as much. I mean, you definitely can. I reach for this matte and this matte a lot, especially when I'm working with my Pat McGrath palettes. I will bring this out and usually use this as a companion piece to them for the mattes. Love it. Never want to not have it in my collection, and this was the palette that actually made me give Natasha Denona a second chance, because I do have the Natasha Denona Lila palette. Do not love that. Do not love that palette. Didn't have a great experience and actually had really sworn off the brand. And then I just kept going back to this palette, gave it a go, and have re-fallen in love with the brand, obviously, because you're going to see quite a bit of Natasha Denona in a minute, as well as the Biba palette that you just saw. So I really do love this. So yeah, that's number 6, but like I hate even putting it at number 6. All of these palettes, just honestly, I want to put them at number 1. I love them all. In number 5, I wonder if you guys can pick the top 5. If you can, let me know. Pause right now and put down below what you think the top 5 are. In number 5, we have the Viseart Cashmerie, however you pronounce it, palette. I love this palette so much. I knew as soon as I saw this particular palette that it was for me. I love it. It is cool toned. I love the cool tones. It has gunmetals in here. It has like these bronzy colors in here, deep purple, this color. Love this whole thing. Love this matte right here. I love this entire palette. It is amazing. I was swatching it before, and oh my goodness, I just fell so head over heels in love even just swatching it again. I do have a review of this palette on my channel. I know you guys asked for a 3 looks 1 palette from this. I would love to do that. I just truly, you guys don't have time right now to do 3 looks 1 palettes. They are so much work, and truthfully, if I'm being honest, I know it's not about the views, but I use the view count as a guide to what you guys actually truly like watching, and the 3 looks 1 palettes don't overly, unless it's Pat McGrath, they don't really get a lot of views. So I'm thinking you guys don't actually really love them, is what I'm guessing from the views. And they're too much work for me with a full-time job to do if not a lot of people are going to enjoy them. So I might just stick to like the one-off looks and do, if I do 1 look here and there, I can actually get more videos out because they're quicker to edit than I can with the 3 looks 1 palette. But let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, the 3 looks 1 palettes, they're not like very highly viewed, and that's okay. Like, I'm not just here for views, but I do use that to guide me. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is I will do more looks with this palette, I promise. I wear this a lot to work, if I'm being honest. So a lot of my Viseart, like my 2 Viseart palettes, I wear a lot to work. They're kind of that brand where you just wear them on the everyday. Number 4, honestly, number 4 and actually 4, yeah, 4, 3, and 2, I'm a little bit of a clown about because I probably was like, I'm not gonna get this. I know this palette for certain. This palette for certain, I bagged the ever-loving crap out of in a new makeup release video. I know I did. I absolutely tore this palette to shreds. And aren't I the clown because it's now number 4 for the year. So can you guess what it is? I'm going to not hold the packaging up because it will blind you, but this is the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. This is in the shade Light. So you do get a cream blush and a highlighter in here, so it's not just an eyeshadow palette, and then you get these 5 shadows right here. Again, I have a review of this palette on my channel. I think I have used this close to nearly every day since I've got this palette. Anytime I pretty much go to work, I wear this palette. It's like what I reach for. Funnily enough, I always forget that these products are in here and I always reach for these, but yeah, I know, I'm an absolute clown. I tore this to shreds. I was like, who the hell wants this? I do, apparently. This is so good. So good. The reason why I love this palette is what turned me around for this palette was seeing it in person and swatching it, because this shade and this shade are special. They're like this suspended kind of glittery metallic shade, and I'm here for that. If you've been around here for a hot minute, you know I love a suspended glitter shade, and that's what they are. And this highlight is so beautiful. I know it's not about the highlight, but it's really, it's something special, that highlight, I'm telling you. And like these metallic shades are so gorgeous. Like, I don't know if you can see, honestly, you need to see it in person to really actually get how pretty this palette is. But also the matte tones in here, like these mattes are really kind of matte products that I like. They're shades that I would wear every day. Like quite often I'll just even throw this shade or this shade just all over the lid on its own, and that's it for work. And so yeah, I just really like how easy, and like, because it's Natasha Denona matte quality, they're just super easy to blend out. So if I have like 10 minutes to get ready for work, I can throw this on and it's like perfect, and I look still put together and glam. So yeah, joke's on me, because I proper tore that to shreds. And if I didn't do it in a makeup releases, I'm sure I did, but if I didn't, I definitely did in my head. I really did. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy it. Anyway, can't judge a book's by its cover all the time, can you, my friends? Now, number 3, I'm not sure if I talked about this in a makeup releases, and if I was like, I think I probably would have liked it, but was probably like, oh, it's probably a bit boring, I probably won't pick it up. I'm not sure. People really rave about this brand's like eyeshadow quality, especially the bigger palettes. I don't own anything, and I was gonna do a full face, so I was like, okay, I'll get this one. This is a good one to like dip my toes in. And I hands down adore this palette and almost think everyone should own it, honestly. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Smoky Eyes Are Forever eyeshadow palette. This is the palette right here. It probably looks like super boring and plain. If I could tell you how many times I reach for this eyeshadow palette, it's so good. I did a 3 looks 1 palette with this as well, just so that you could see. I've used every single shade in this palette in a video. So I did a 3 looks 1 palette, and then I've also got a full face of Charlotte Tilbury using it as well. The quality. It's the quality. It's hands down the quality. These could honestly be any shades. It's the quality of this palette that does it for me. The mattes are stunning. so gorgeous. And then the metallics, like they kind of, it's like this mix between like toppery shades but also like proper metallics, and it's just really broken down in a really easy to use format. Like these are gorgeous. It's just the whole thing is stunning. It's so everyday friendly, just so everyday friendly. No matter what occasion you have, this palette will cover it. It really will. It will just cover it hands down. It's amazing. And just the quality, I can't stress the quality. It's such a beautiful, easy to use palette. I love it so much. So number 2, also a massive, huge clown about, honestly, truly. When I saw this palette, I actually messaged my friend Karen and was like, I am so disappointed. What is this? I'm not gonna buy it. I won't use those tones. This is just, I'm so sad. Why would she release this? Blah, 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 blah. And I don't know if I talked about it in a new makeup releases. I love filming new makeup releases as a side note, but I haven't done it much this year because that's how boring the makeup releases have been this year, truly. Like there's been some gems in here, but consistently overall, it feels like it's just Makeup Revolution releasing makeup and everyone else scattered every now and then. I'm not here to talk about Makeup Revolution, just saying. Anyway, but yeah, when she released this palette, I was like, no, not getting it, not getting it, not getting it. And then I had this feeling that it was going to be like the Glam palette, where when I first saw the Glam palette, I was like, no, I'm not going to get that. And then the more I looked at it, the more I loved it, and then fell head over heels when I bought it. Or I got given it as a gift actually. But then I was like, I feel like this palette's going to be the same. I feel like I probably look at it and go, nah, don't need it. But if I picked it up, I would absolutely love it. And sure enough, that's the case. So this is the Natasha Denona Retro palette. So this is in number 2. Big call, I know, even over Glam. I love this. I really do. I truly love this palette. I've seen some people be a bit hit or miss. I think I even saw someone return this, and I get it. I think if you don't wear these tones, then it's not the palette for you. Also, if you don't like her cream to powder formula, don't bother. There are so many cream to powders in here, but that's what I love the most about this palette. I love her cream to powder formula. Her cream to powder formula for me is the perfect, like, everyday one and done kind of eyeshadow formula for work. Like Andy here, I'm sure that's called Andy. Yeah, Andy is like actually Andy and Go-Go. So this shade and this shade are like my 2 favorite shades in this palette. They're both cream to powder, but I love putting them all over the lid. So I get like a shader brush, I pack it all over the lid and then just slightly blend it out, and then I just run out the door to work, and that's all I do. And that's what I love about the cream to powder formula. But also I just love all the tones in here. I really do. I love all of the tones in here. All of them are stunning. All of them look so good on the eyes. And even though it's like a purple burgundy palette, it still looks really quite neutral. And I just find, I've said it before, but like I find these like purple eggplanty kind of colors really do suit my skin tone and my eye color. So I reach for this a hell of a lot, like a hell of a lot. Who knows what number 1 is? Who knows? I feel like you know, right? What's the palette that's missing? I've said it a few times already in the last couple of videos. You surely know what this palette is that's number 1. That's right, Pat McGrath Labs Celestial Odyssey. Do I need to say anything? Do I need to say anything? Truly, I love this palette. I know I've seen some of you guys think that the quality of this isn't as good. I don't know. I didn't get last year's palette. That wasn't the color scheme for me. I think this palette here being my favorite is a really big mix between me loving the colors in here. This green, you guys, this green. If I could wear one eyeshadow color for the rest of my life, it would probably be that. I love it. This silver, this orange, the blue, the purple. This one here, it's like a duochrome all over the lid. So beautiful. This one, I have so many looks on my channel, you guys, using this. I have my initial review, I have a 3 looks 1 palette, and I think I have 1 or 2 other videos using this palette. I love it. I love it. I love it. The metallics in here are so creamy, so buttery, so pigmented, so beautiful to use. They look stunning on the eyes, at least in my opinion. I think it's really good value. I think she's still got like 40% off this right now, but if she doesn't, like, keep an eye out because it is limited edition. So if you do have your eye on it and you can get it on sale, I paid full price for this, and I have no qualms in the fact that I paid full price of this. I'm not saying you have to do that. Everyone's value of $1 is different, and just be mindful of that. So I get that. All I'm saying is I would buy this 10 times over. 10 times over. I love it. I love it. I nearly love it more than all of my motherships. Truly, that's how much I think this palette is that good. And that is it. 25 palettes ranked. I freaking did it. I did it. Whew. I have filmed 4 videos today, you guys. I have talked a lot. I am tired now and I am ready to stop speaking, but that was like, I had so much fun. Honestly, I had so much fun. But ranking them was hard, and I really can't stress to you that I love every single one of these and I'm not giving them up. Like, there's not like, I'm not playing favorites. Like, I mean, I have because I've ranked them, but at the same time, I really hate ranking them and I feel bad that I've hurt their feelings. But I had a really good time. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time too. Was my ranking what you thought it would be? Was there any surprises in there? And what would be your #1 eyeshadow palette for the year? So make sure you tell me that in the comments down below. Pretty please let me know what your favorite eyeshadow palette is for the year. I would love and be very interested to hear what that is for you. That is it. Now, if you're watching till this point, I appreciate you so much. There's a lot of long videos at this time of year. If you are watching till this point, please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I hope you have an amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.